The wind screamed across the Arizona plains, dragging sand like needles against the skin. The sun had almost died behind the ridges, painting the sky with blood and smoke. And through that dying light rode a lone figure, Eli Turner, a man who had nothing left to lose. His coat was torn, his boots split at the seams, and the last drop of whiskey in his flask was long gone. The West had chewed him up, spat him out, and left him wandering with a dead man's revolver and a broken horse. He had once been a ranch hand, once dreamed of owning land, maybe marrying the blacksmith's daughter back in Missouri. But that was before the war, before debt, before hunger turned him into a ghost drifting between saloons. That night he wasn't looking for trouble. But trouble in the Wild West didn't ask permission. The encounter. A scream tore through the silence. Not the kind of scream that echoes in a bar fight. This one was raw, terrified human. Eli pulled his horse to a stop. Somewhere beyond the ridge, flames flickered. He dismounted, moved silently through the cactus and dust, and what he saw froze him in place. 2 Apache women were tied to a wagon wheel, wrists bound, faces bruised. 3 white men in torn hats stood around them, drunk, laughing, loading rifles. Eli's stomach turned. He'd seen cruelty before, but this was different. He could have turned around. Nobody would have blamed him. The Apaches weren't his people. The town of Silver Ridge would have hanged him just for talking to them. But as he watched one of the men raise his hand to strike one of the women again, something in Eli snapped. He checked his revolver. 2 bullets. That's all he had. He whispered to his horse, "Easy, boy. We're about to do something damn stupid." The gunshot echoed through the valley like thunder. One man dropped instantly, the second turned, too slow. Eli's second shot caught him in the chest. The third man bolted for his rifle, but before he could fire, a knife, thrown by one of the Apache women, buried itself deep into his throat. Silence fell again. Only the crackling of the fire remained. Eli walked over, untied the women. Their eyes were fierce, defiant even in pain. He said softly, "You're safe now." The taller one stared at him, her voice sharp. "No one is safe. You killed their men. Now they will come." Eli looked around the empty desert. "Then we better move fast." The town turns. By morning, the 3 dead men had been found. By noon, the whole of Silver Ridge was talking. "They say Eli Turner shot 'em down," someone whispered in the saloon. "With Apache women by his side." Another hissed. When Eli rode into town, every pair of eyes followed him. He took the women to Doc Harris's shack, the only man in town with a soul left. The doc looked nervous. "You bring an Apache into Silver Ridge, Eli? You out of your damn mind?" "They needed help," Eli said, his jaw tight. "Help?" The doc scoffed. "You just lit a fire under the whole territory." He wasn't wrong. Within hours, Marshal Briggs and his deputies arrived. A cruel man with cold eyes, Briggs stood tall on the saloon porch, spitting tobacco as he spoke. "Turner, step out here." Eli walked out, coat dusty, hands calm. "You got something to say, Marshal?" Briggs sneered. "You bring those savages into my town, kill 3 men, and expect what? A medal." "They were beating women," Eli said quietly. "Women?" Briggs barked a laugh. "They're Apache. They've burned farms, killed settlers. And maybe," Eli cut him off, "it's because we did the same to them first." The crowd gasped. Someone shouted, "Hang him!" Briggs's hand hovered over his gun. "I should drop you right here, Turner." Eli didn't flinch. "Then do it. But you'll still be a coward." That night the town gathered with ropes and rifles. The women were dragged from the doc's cabin, Eli beaten and tied to a post. Briggs stood in front of the crowd. "This town don't need traitors," he said. The noose swung in the desert wind. Eli's voice cracked but strong. "You hang me, Marshal, but you'll never stop what's coming." And then a scream. The sound of war cries rolled down from the canyon. The attack. Arrows rained down like a storm of death. Fire lit the rooftops. Horses screamed. Dozens of Apache warriors charged from the ridge, their faces painted, their rifles flashing. In the chaos, the 2 women broke free, Naya and Tala. They cut Eli loose. "Ride!" Tala shouted. Eli grabbed a gun, pulled the women onto his horse, and bolted through the burning streets. Behind them, Silver Ridge was collapsing, the smoke, bullets, fire, and fear. They didn't stop until the town was just a distant glow. Under the cold moonlight, Naya turned to Eli. "You could have left us," she said quietly. "Maybe," he replied, "but I'd have hated the man who did." She smiled faintly. "Then you're not like them." The legend begins. Weeks later, the newspapers told their version. Outlaw Eli Turner leads Apache attack on Silver Ridge. Cowboy betrays his people, joins savages. But those who had been there, they told a different story. They said a poor cowboy stood between hate and justice, that he saved 2 women no one else would save, that when the world turned against him, he still didn't break. No one ever saw him again. Some say he rode north, living among the Apaches. Some say he became a bounty hunter, killing the corrupt. And some whisper that on nights when the wind howls across the canyons, you can still hear his voice, low, steady, unbroken. "I ain't no hero. I just didn't run." And that's how the poorest cowboy in Arizona became a legend. A man who dared to do what was right, even when the whole damn West tried to hang him for it.